Hey YouTube, mercifully Color Cup is finally over and we are back to the open rotation Great League, Ultra League, Master League. So we're going to look at the Great League here because that is what I expect most people to play. And updated rankings. If you watched my video yesterday on Corviknight, go check it out. When I get one, I will test it out. I basically gave the analysis of what it's like, and it has changed the meta. As you can see, it is the number 6 ranked Pokemon. And because it is the number 6 ranked Pokemon, it has actually switched to top ranking. So Clodsire, that has been very, very dominant at the top, is now number 2, and Corsola is number 1. And that goes down to, you can see with the number 1 moveset there. Still the number 2 ranked Pokemon, Sludge Bomb Earthquake, is just not going to have any move to throw at Corviknight, right? Because Corviknight is a steel flying, so it is going to resist every single one of those movesets. So because of that, and because Corviknight has jumped into the top 10, Clodsire with Sludge Bomb Earthquake is down a bit, and then Stone Edge Earthquake is number 7. Sludge Bomb is still the preferred move on Clodsire just because it is spammier and does have some nice coverage, whereas Stone Edge is a little slower to get to, but Stone Edge will obviously give you something for Corviknight you can hit with a neutral Stone Edge on the flying. Again, I don't want to go too much into detail. Go check it out there, and I'll do a Beyond the Hype when I get one. Otherwise, the meta is pretty straightforward. Mandibuzz, Diggersby. Notice that Diggersby is still the normal one, no Purified, no Shadow. And again, I think that comes down to just Corviknight being in the meta now. Like, when I was looking at the analysis on Return Diggersby is actually quite an interesting one because it is a same type attack nuke. Now with Corviknight, depending on how many you're seeing, you're going to want Fire Punch on this thing to hit neutral against it. No, hit super effective against it because it is half steel, half flying. So super effective Fire Punches for Corviknight with a Fire Punch, whereas Scorching Sands and Return would both be resisted. So that is why Diggersby is up there. Having the Fire Punch just giving you that nice coverage for Corviknight. But then the rest of the meta doesn't seem to have changed too much. For Alligator, Gastrodon, Primate, Morpeko, Dunsparce, Steelix, I think is a bit overrated with Thunderfang, quite honestly. Shadow Marowak, Stunfisk, Azumarill, Carving, Jumpluff, yeah. Same old. So basically the only thing that has changed at the top here is Corviknight in at 6. Clodsire out as the number 1, and then maybe some shuffling here by 1 or 2, but not 1 or 2 moves, rankings, but not much. So let's start with Corviknight. And this team, I was going to say, was put out before you were even born, because this is the oldest team in the book for GBL. And you might be thinking, why is this the oldest team in the book? Isn't this a new Pokemon? Well, it's Skarmory. It's a steel flying Pokemon. And the Skarmory Swampert core was the core from season 1 through season whatever that dominated. And the reason that is because Swampert only has one weakness, and that is double weak to grass. And steel flying is going to absolutely destroy grass. So paired with the safe swap. So welcome to 2025, the updated Skarmory Swampert line. Corviknight, Gastrodon as your mud boy, and then put in a safe swap. I put in Dunsparce because Dunsparce is still one of the best safe swaps in this meta. So there you go. If you want to use Corviknight, it's going to be some variation of this. Obviously, you're going to have problems with steals, so Mud Boys make sense, and then a safe swap. So it should not be hard to team build with this Pokemon because you have the blueprint from way back in the day. Speaking about other new Pokemon, Dachsbun is the new number ranked Charmer. And the reason that is ranked so high is because you actually have 2 of the fastest charge moves in the game, both Body Slam and Psychic Fangs for 35 energy. If you watch my video on this Beyond the Hype, 95% of the time you're throwing Psychic Fangs anyways just to lower their defense and out-charm them. Again, when you're running a Charmer, you're always going to have problems with Steel. So put in Gastrodon and do that. The only sort of drawback with a Gastrodon Charmer line is that if you get hit with a grass poison, a grass poison, at least with the poison you can hit neutral with Gastrodon with the Mudsups, but that's going to be generally a problem because Charm is resisted by poison and grass will just destroy Gastrodon. So putting Corsola as a safe swap / bulky Pokemon / all around just Pokemon that can just deal with a lot of things. And that's what makes these Pokemon, certain Pokemon like Corsola, Azumarill, extremely, extremely strong, is that there's safety. Like, obviously, you're going to lose to the ones you're supposed to lose to. Control is going to have a problem with normal typing because Astonish and Night Shade are resisted. But outside of like the just double resisted move ones of normal typings, I mean, Dark will cause problems too, but all the neutral matchups you do very, very well in, and that's what makes it a very good Pokemon. I mean, you can also put in other safe swaps if you want. Pure safe swap, like, I mean, for Alligator would just give you even worse coverage for that. So I'd go with something like Drapion, what's half poison, to give you the coverage there. Speaking about the poison, this is an ABB style team. It's not a true ABB style team, but basically what you're trying to do with this team is you're trying to lead Jumpluff, you're safe swapping Drapion, and you're trying to draw out your ground type Pokemon. Gastrodon, Diggersby, other ground type Pokemon that would just kill Morpeko. And then Drapion can spam those Aqua Tails, do okay because it's just so spammy and so strong in general. And then Jumpluff will wipe up, and then Morpeko in the back. Morpeko, you're going to see on a couple teams. I know, for those of you who've been around this channel for a while, know I have a soft spot for these spammier Pokemons, glassier Pokemons. Swampert, Togedemaru, and Morpeko fits the bill. It is so spammy. It hits the Aura Wheel is such a nuke that even like resisted people are just like, ooh, I probably should shield this anyways because it just hits so hard. Again, this is more, you're going to see a few balanced teams on here. A few ABB style teams. But this is Kanto Marowak on the lead, Drapion safe swap, Moltres in the back. Basically, Marowak is weak to grass and water. Moltres as the flyer will beat the grass and do okay against like the water. One of the main waters is for Alligator, for which you can resist the Shadow Claws. So yeah, Kanto Marowak, if you haven't used it yet this season, the Shadow is better. And the reason the Shadow is better is because it becomes a 2-shield menace, because the Mud Slaps add up a lot because you get same type attack bonus. So you get the Mud Slap, which got boosted. You get the same type attack bonus because you are a ground and you are a Shadow. So all three of those add up. And then you have a Bone Club, which is fast to get to, 12-9, 12-9. That also got buffed. So you can, as long as ground is not resisted and anytime is neutral, basically kind of 2-shield this thing, and it is a monster. So that on the lead, Drapion is your safe swap, and then Moltres in the back. This Morpeko Talonflame core, I've used it once, I've showcased it once, and I've seen other content creators, someone created it, and like others have showcased it as well. It is such a dynamic core, and maybe it's going to get even more run with Corviknight out here because Morpeko as the electric will just destroy Corviknight, and then Talonflame as a fire will also hit super effective. So this core, which was already everywhere, maybe everywhere plus plus a little more. So this core is just super strong, right? Morpeko's main weakness is ground. Talonflame will beat the ground. Talonflame is weak to electric. Morpeko will do okay against electric. And then for Alligator safe swap, obviously for Alligator, when I said to electric, you have a big electric weakness on the team, so something like Morpeko would cause this team problems. So if you want to deal with that better, perhaps you switch for Alligator to, I don't know, you can try Marowak. You may want to go something like Dunsparce that has bulk in the drill runs that can hit super effective against Morpeko, so maybe something like that will give you a little more coverage. Gastrodon and Zapdos Sandslash, this was submitted to me. I think it's a fun team. It is very, very, very glossy in the back, so I wouldn't recommend this if you do not know how to read teams and know which Pokemon to shield up. So there is a big difference between those in the 1900 range and those in the like 2900 range at this point. And I think if the lower you are on your rankings, the more you're going to struggle with a team like this. If you, honestly, I'm going to bring up team number 1 again. If you want something easy to use that has, like, use something like this. You got 3 generally bulky Pokemon. The spam on these couple Pokemon are pretty good. It's a very easy team where it's like Corviknight, do I see an electric? No. Do I see a fire? No. Do I see a steel? No. Then I'm staying in the lead. If I see any of those, I'm going into Dunsparce. These types of teams are easier to use, and they're easier to play with because they got a lot of bulk to them. So when you pull up something like this, that yes, they cover each other's weakness. Gastrodon weak to double weak to grass. You have a flyer and an ice in the back to deal with that. Sandslash weak to ground and fighting. Obviously, Zapdos deals with that. So they can kind of cover each other. However, Zapdos and Sandslash both need shields. So when you play this team, you need to make decisions. You need to read your opponent's team. You need to know, like, where's my win con? Which Pokemon is going to be my closer? So which Pokemon is my... Zapdos is probably the safe swap on this team. Zapdos is quite a strong safe swap because even if you get met with like a ground Pokemon where Thunderbolt is resisted, Drill Peck is usually neutral and you resist ground on their end. So it actually makes quite a nice safe swap if you're looking for something unique. If you're not looking for something unique, I asked you, so what I did with my, I think it was on a video or on the like community tab, I have said that I've had go-to Pokemon in the past seasons that have always helped me gain Elo. And it was Swampert, Sableye, Lickitung, and then when I found Core Breakers, Kanto Ninetales, and Togedemaru because they core broke. So I used those 5 Pokemon to just dominate. And unfortunately, between nerfs and just the meta, most of those Pokemon are unusable at this point. So I said, give me your 3 or 4 Pokemon that you would use that are just absolutely dominant that you think will play very, very well. And these 3 were the most suggested: Malamar, Feraligatr, Diggersby. So again, double weak to grass in the back, so grass is generally a problem. But when you have the spamminess of Malamar, 10 to a foul play, 12 to a superpower, plus one of the best fast moves in the game with Psywave. Feraligatr, which is just obviously insanely broken with the Claw Hydro Cannon combo. Only 10 to get to that, and that combo is just so deadly. And then bulk with Diggersby in the back. Coverage with your Fire Punch at 10. Scorching Sands, which is a nice move. And then, like I said, the bulk just makes it a very, very, very strong team. So when in doubt, like if you're sort of new to GBL or you don't know like which Pokemon to use, like is it as simple as using... Actually, you know what? Because I'm pretty sure that's the next one. Is it as simple as using 3 of the top 10 Pokemon? Here's 3 of the top 5 Pokemon: Corsola, Clodsire, Primeape. And unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, yes, it is as simple as that, using 3 of the top 10 meta Pokemon and throwing them on a team together. Now, the team needs to make somewhat of sense for that to work. But there's a reason that these Pokemon are in the top 10, right? So Corsola, again, I already talked about its coverage. It just has great coverage. Not the spammiest Pokemon, but pretty bulky. Plus, you have the Astonished there, which does great damage. Clodsire is obviously the #1 ranked Pokemon. I have it. There was. I'm using this with Stone Edge because I prefer... If you're going to use this as a safe swap, which is what I use it with, I would use it with Stone Edge because that gives you coverage. If you use the Poison Earthquake, there were Pokemon that could just wall you. So I preferred to always use Stone Edge. And another one that would wall you, you're like, doesn't Corviknight just come to the game? Yes, but Drifblim. Drifblim as a ghost flying Pokemon would both resist the poison and the ground. So I always ran it with Stone Edge. If you're going to use it as a safe swap, run Stone Edge. If you're not going to use it as a safe swap, you can probably get away with Sludge Bomb. And then Primeape just with a nuke of a Rage Fist, which boosts your attack in 8 turns, or Close Combat, which nukes your opponent in 10. A very deadly combo in a meta that is just without fighters, right? Because Counter got nerfed and it really, really just changed the way the meta shapes up. Speaking about the way the meta shapes up, I don't even know. Okay, I've already talked about Marowak and Dunsparce, so their strength. I don't know if I talked about Dunsparce's strength, but it's just like only has 1 weakness. Not a lot of fighters in this meta. Insane coverage, spammy, Rock Slide, Drill Run, great coverage. Yeah, and like I said, 12-9, 12-9 to get to the moves very fast. And then Toxapex. Talk about a love-hate with this Pokemon. If you've ever watched me talk about this Pokemon, Brine is garbage. And on Brine garbage, it's a garbage move that takes 16 turns to get to. Sludge Wave is a great move. So if you should be throwing Sludge Wave like 95% of the time. Honestly, the only time I would throw Brine is if it's like against like a ground Pokemon where Sludge Wave is resisted and Brine's super effective. So that's basically like the only time that I'm throwing Brine, because Brine's so bad and Sludge Wave takes so long to get to, 20 and 18 in terms of turns. So it's a very slow Pokemon, but it is very bulky, and Poison Jab is a very hard hitting move. So there is, and it's just like in a wall to a Azumarill and stuff. So it is a very strong Pokemon, even though I do not love using it. And speaking about Azumarill, I called this one maybe the all safe swap team. Actually, this was the team that was recommended by my friend who went like 40-7 with it or something stupid like this. Drapion, Corsola, Azumarill. Already talked about the safety in Corsola and Drapion and Azumarill, right? It's truly like all three of these Pokemon will obviously have losses, but they're so either spammy in Drapion or bulky with coverage in Corsola and Azumarill that you're just basically safe across the board with a lot of the Pokemon in the meta. So that is it. Yeah, we'll see. I assume I'll do mostly Great League. As I mentioned in, I don't know if people watched it, but please send me some Great League battles. Link in the description. If you want to submit some battles, I will showcase them. This thing is on for 2 weeks. There's a little cup next week, so I doubt people will play that. Maybe they will, but my guess is that we're going to have two straight weeks of Great League, which means I need a lot of Great League battles. So please submit some battles. Link in the description. It kind of explains everything that I need with your battles. Anyways, that is it. Thanks for watching. Let me know if there's any like team or Pokemon that you have that's your go-to that is very strong. And if not, I'll see you Ultra League teams this afternoon if you're interested in Ultra League. Because Corviknight is the #1 ranked Pokemon, so we'll do an analysis on that and teams there. But otherwise, I will see you guys in the next one.